Hey there, welcome to another day. Welcome to another episode of Blake's Everyday Podcast. That's the first time that I've accidentally said something other than episode for a little bit. So I think it must be just because I'm excited. Tampa beat Detroit tonight, so that was definitely needed. We finished last night. We finished chapter 11, I believe, and then we're about to read on to chapter 12. But yeah, no, Tampa won tonight, 4-1. It was, I don't know, it was a pretty important win too. You know, we've been kind of sliding downhill for the past couple weeks, so we definitely needed to pick it back up. We got, I don't know, only there's not nearly as many games as there once was. I mean, you think about 82 games in a season, and we're already halfway through March, and we only have one, two, three, six, like 8 games in April. But no, definitely a good one tonight. Definitely needed that. But enough of my hockey talk. That's not what we're doing here tonight. We're here to read the Bible. But man, I'll tell you what. I will kind of ramble a little bit more. But I don't know why the heck it's been so dry here recently. But like my knees, you know, and like my elbows and stuff, they're like super, super dry. Like, I don't know, it's weird. I'm like ashy in a way. It's weird. I didn't know that I could be ashy, but apparently I can, and it hurts. It hurts because it's so dry. I would get that problem in Colorado or something, but like Florida, come on, you're talking about pretty much the most humid place in America, so it doesn't really make too much sense. But we're gonna go ahead and start at chapter 12. I think tonight we'll probably make it to. Be nice to make it to chapter 15, honestly. Might happen, just depending on the descriptions. I can tell you what, I can already see 5 descriptions that we need to read for chapter 12, and it also depends on my rambling. Like, we're already 3 minutes and 3 minutes and 30 seconds into this video, and I'm still rambling, so I'll go ahead and start reading. So the title for chapter 12 is The Passover and the Festival of Unleavened Bread. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for a whole lamb, they must share one with their nearest neighbor. Having taken into account the number of people there are, you are to determine the amount of lamb needed in accordance with what each person will eat. The animals you choose must be year-old males without defect, and you may take them from the sheep or the goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the members of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs. That same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire, along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or boiled in water, but roasted over a fire with the head, legs, and internal organs. Do not leave any of it till morning. If some is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it: with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. On that same night I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn of both people and animals, and I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. This is a day you are to commemorate for the generations to come. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, remove the yeast from your houses. For whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the 7th must be cut off from Israel. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do not work at all on these days, except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 12th day. Until the evening of the 21st day. My bad. For 7 days no yeast is to be found in your houses, and anyone, whether foreigner or native born, who eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel. Eat nothing made with yeast wherever you live. You must eat unleavened bread. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it into the blood of in the basin, and put some of the blood on top and on both sides of the door frame. None of you shall go out of the door of your house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, gosh, dude. Oh man, he will see the blood on the top and sides of the door frame, and will pass over that doorway, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants when you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised. Observe this ceremony. And when your children ask you, what does this ceremony mean to you? Then tell them it is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians. Then the people bowed down and worshipped. The Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. At midnight the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead. The Exodus. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, Up, leave my people, you and the Israelites. Go worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds as you have said, and go. And also bless me. The Egyptians urged the people to hurry and leave the country, for otherwise they said that we will all die. So the people took their dough before the yeast was added and carried it on their shoulders in kneading troughs wrapped in clothing. The Israelites did as Moses instructed and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and they gave them what they had asked for. So they plundered the Egyptians. The Israelites journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth. There were about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. Many other people went up with them, and also large droves of livestock, both flocks and herds, with the dough the Israelites had brought from Egypt. They baked loaves and unleavened bread. The dough was without yeast because they had been driven. Gosh, man. I don't even feel that tired. That's the worst part about it. It's like, come on now. The dough was without yeast because they had been driven out of Egypt and did not have time to prepare food for themselves. Now the length of time the Israelite people lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's division left Egypt. Because the Lord kept vigil that night to bring them out of Egypt, on this night all the Israelites are to keep vigil to honor the Lord for the generations to come. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "These are the regulations for the Passover meal. No foreigner may eat it. Any slave you have bought may eat it after you have circumcised him. But a temporary resident or a hired worker may not eat it. It must be eaten inside the house. Take none of the meat outside of the house. Do not break any of the bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate it. A foreigner residing among you who wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover must have all the males in his household circumcised. Then he may take part like one born in the land. No uncircumcised male may eat it. The same law applies both to the native born and to the foreigner residing among you." All the Israelites did just what the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. And on that very day, the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions. Okay. So that was the end of chapter 12. We do have, like I said, 5 descriptions here, which is a pretty significant amount, compared to what we're used to reading. Let me take just a sip of my soda real quick. All right. Need to trim my mustache. That thing works like a sponge when it grows out. It's like you almost gotta like tuck it into your mouth. Yeah, never mind. That's gross. Never mind. So chapter 12, verses 1 through 2. The event of Israel's exodus from Egypt marked a turning point for Israel. God's people were leaving their lives of slavery and gaining new lives of responsibility and freedom. It is possible to build a new life that is so markedly different that we can declare a new phase or season of life. Such a declaration of newness can provide a new sense of identity and can be a healthy boundary line, setting us apart from our past failures. At this point in their history, the Israelites were declaring such a boundary line, a turning point. We may find it helpful to do the same thing, reinforcing the process of spiritual renewal in our lives. Chapter 12, verses 3 through 13. Here we see that those who trusted God's promise and put the sacrificial blood over their doors were spared the loss of their firstborn sons. Similarly, we who have faith in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, the ultimate Passover lamb, are spared from eternal death. We also become brand new people in Christ. God initiates and maintains the necessary spiritual and emotional development in our lives if we are willing to trust Him to do it. Chapter 12, verses 14 through 16. The Passover was to become an occasion of celebration for future generations of Israel. It would be a time to remember their deliverance from slavery. Part of building a new life involves replacing old unhealthy thoughts and actions with healthy new ones. This may include taking on new traditions and celebrate our freedom from past problems. These should emphasize the positive differences between our existence and the healthy freedom we experience in our new life. So, that's kind of like you hear about like Jehovah's Witnesses, right? They are, I believe, a form of Christianity, but Jehovah's Witnesses are, they don't believe in like holidays. They don't believe in, celebrations, and they don't even believe in Christmas. It's, well, they don't celebrate. I mean, but this, that's saying here right now. I mean, chapter 12, verses 14 through 16. I mean, God literally made basically a celebration for them, to celebrate. So, I mean, I guess I don't see where Jehovah's Witnesses come from, but, yeah, I'll quit. Because I'm just beginning too, and I'm not saying that everybody watching this video is just beginning, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm pretty much brand new to this. So, me making my assumptions isn't healthy for anybody listening. I might say some things here and there that do kind of correlate with some, but the last thing that I should be doing is saying what's right and wrong, because, I mean, I can say certain things are right and wrong because I know them, but if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I better just not talk about them. You know what I mean? Okay, so chapter 12, verses 24 through 27. Children are usually curious as to why their parents believe and do as they do. They are quick to pick up on half-hearted or hypocritical actions. But they are also quick to learn when positive lessons and values are modeled and taught. The Israelites were to teach their children important lessons from the past, recalling God's great victories for their ancestors. This would then provide the groundwork for their faith in God, enabling them to step forward into the life with a healthy confidence. We should remember that much of the present and future grows out of the past. Let us capitalize on the good things in the past to strengthen our prospects for the future. Yeah, I mean, just like, it's important to kind of give your kids the childhood that they need. I mean, it's, God knows that we could all be better people. God knows that we could all be better parents. God knows that we have a lot to work on, and the Bible will teach us how to even be better parents. Not just for, we're not just reading about how we can better ourselves, but how we can influence others and how we can make better life choices and put a good persona in front of our children and raise them right, and I mean, that's what it's all about. Once you have kids, it's the you forget about yourself. It's um, yourself isn't as important. Of course, your salvation is nowadays. Well, not nowadays. It's always been important, but your salvation's always important. But your children's salvation is just as important. And as a father, that's what God has made us to be, as leaders and people to, bring our family to faith. And that's what you're here to do. And I wish I would have realized that a lot earlier in my life. Maybe I wouldn't have done so much stupid stuff. But if I didn't, would I be here, sitting here reading this book today? When you think about it like that, would I have learned my lesson? Would I have made the step forward if I was just comfortable? God's given me grace to get through my challenges. But now God's granting me strength to go ahead and take more steps towards the right direction that I need to be headed. And I think He'll do the same for you as well, especially when you become a leader. So, chapter 12, verses 28 through 51. After this final plague, the Israelites were not just allowed to leave, they were commanded to get out. In the pain and shock of his son's death, Pharaoh didn't attach any conditions to the Israelites. Exodus. He only asked for Moses' blessing. God had worked out the timing and all the details necessary for the Exodus to take place. Similarly, the all-knowing and all-powerful God lays out the path to freedom for those committed to Him. All right. So we are officially going to start reading chapter 13. That was a long chapter, I will say that. We do have a lot of description for chapter 13 too. So, I mean, this is the chapter itself isn't that long, but the description, man, getting long. So the title for chapter 13 is Consecration of the Firstborn. The Lord said to Moses, consecrate to me every firstborn male. The first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belong to me, whether human or animal. Then Moses said to the people, commemorate this day and the day you came out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, because of the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast today, in the month of Aviv. You are leaving, all right. Eat nothing containing yeast today in the month of Aviv. You are leaving. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the land He swore to your ancestors to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, and on the seventh day hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Nothing with yeast in it is to be seen among you, nor shall any yeast be seen anywhere within your borders. On that day tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. This observance will be for you like a sign on your hand and a reminder on your forehead. That is the law, that this law of the Lord is to be on your lips. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time year after year. After the Lord brings you into the land of Canaanites and gives it to you, as he promised on oath to you and your ancestors, you are to give over to the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. In days to come, when your son asks you, what does this mean? Say to him, with a mighty hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed the firstborn of both people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb and redeem each of my firstborn sons. And it will be like a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter, for God said if they faced war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear on an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night, in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. All right, so we do have we have 4 descriptions here. So this one is chapter 13 verses 1 through 2 and chapter 11 verse 16. Chapter 13 verses 1 through 2 and chapter 13 verses 11 through 16. That makes more sense. The consecration of the firstborn sons of Israel points to the important positions of the firstborn in family dynamics. Since God had spared the lives of the firstborn of Israel during the Passover, in a very real sense, they all belonged to him. As a result, the Israelites had to sacrifice a lamb to buy their firstborn sons back from God. All of our children should be viewed as being on loan from God. The public dedication of our children to God is a helpful tradition reminding us of this fact. Yeah, I mean, isn't that crazy though? To think about, we are pretty much, parents are here to guide the children. We're all God's children. So we're basically loaning, when we have children, our own offspring, it's more of a loan when you look at it this way, to God, which it's a good way to look at it, feel some conviction on some of the things that you might say around them, teach your kids about their Lord and Savior. But I'll keep going. We're already 30 minutes in. I don't think there's any way that we're making it to chapter 15. We might not even read chapter 14. I don't know. Yeah, we'll probably read chapter 14. Yeah, we'll see. Chapter 13, verses 17 through 18. Swinging southeast to the Red Sea was not the fastest route from Egypt to the Promised Land, but it was the route of God that God chose for the Israelites to follow. The shortest route between 2 points is not always the best. God's will often calls us to take the more scenic routes. These, though longer and sometimes harder, are often God's means for accomplishing His will. In the Israelites' case, they were given the opportunity to see God overcome a huge obstacle, the Red Sea. This gave them additional fuel for their faith, building their courage for the journey ahead. It also helped them avoid changes in the land of the Philistines that they were not yet prepared to face. Chapter 13, verse 19. Here we see that Joseph's bones made the journey to the Promised Land. Many years earlier, Joseph had made his descendants promise that they would bring his bones with them. Joseph believed God's promise to Abraham that someday Canaan would belong to his descendants. Joseph was a godly example to his descendants. And here we see that he was remembered 400 years after his death. We should accept the truth about our families. The good things should be remembered and treasured, even as the bad ones must be faced, dealt with, and used to teach us how to redirect our course. Wow, so you think about 400 years. I mean, that's even older than, like, say, you trying to bring George Washington's bones to a whole different country. Think about that. 400 years. It's 2026. This country started in 1776. It seems like a long time, but 400 years. And you wonder how they collected these bones, how they just held on to them. Did they just have them? When I think about this, I think about I don't know why, but you know how people keep urns on a fireplace mantle or something? It's their loved one. I'm just picturing, a stack of bones on somebody's fireplace mantle. I don't know why, but 400 years. That's older than this country. That's crazy to me. 400 years. It's a long time. It's a long, long time. But we got one more description here. God guided his people out of slavery to a new life of freedom and responsibility by his visible presence in the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. He led them to reclaim the promises he had given their ancestor Abraham centuries earlier. When we are committed to God, we too can count on his leading. He has sent his Holy Spirit to lead us, and has promised to never leave or forsake us. Okay. So we are now 34 minutes into this video. I feel like we should just go ahead and read chapter 14 though. It's not a super long chapter. We do have three descriptions afterwards, but man, yeah. Just get too into it. Well, there's no such thing as getting too into the Bible, but you get what I'm saying. I'm entertained. But then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea directly opposite of Baal Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the desert. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. But I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did this. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, "What have we done? We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services." So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 of the best chariots, along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi Hahiroth, opposite Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out loud to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Was it because there was no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say, 'You in Egypt, leave us alone'? Let us serve the Egyptians. It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert." Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need to only be still." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out for me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through the Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." Then the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. The Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptians' army and threw it into confusion. He jammed the wheels of the chariots so that they had difficulty driving, and the Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen. The entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses his servant. All right, now we got 3 descriptions to go through. Chapter 14, verses 1 through 9. The Israelites were between a rock and a hard place, the Red Sea on one side and the Egyptian army on the other. And though the Israelites had already seen God do great miracles in Egypt, our situations may seem, in Egypt, it must have been hard for them to wait and see how God would save them from this ominous situation. Our situation may seem just as hopeless, but nothing is a hopeless dead end for God. He will always provide a door leading to the next step in his plan. Chapter 14, verses 10 through 12. In all their fear, the Israelites cried out to God for help. Their terrified complaints show that their faith in God was limited. But at least they saw their need for God in this situation and looked to him for help. As a result, their discouragement and fear were soon turned into amazement and rejoicing. Chapter 14, verses 13 through 31. Here we see a great miracle take place. God opened up a dry path through the Red Sea for the people to cross. Notice that even with this amazing miracle, the Israelites still had to respond in faith. They still had to walk between the massive walls of water that could have become a tidal wave at any moment. These steps of faith required commitment to God, and this surely resulted in the growth of the Israelites' faith. The miracles that God works in our lives also require that we respond in faith, stepping out and to receive all the blessings he desires for us. All right, so we're going to finish it there. Tomorrow we will pick back up at chapter 15. Because that's where we finished. We finished chapter 14. And we will finish, we'll start tomorrow with chapter 15. All right. Dear God, we just thank you for giving us another day on this beautiful earth. We know that the world is dark, but we are still following you through it, and we plan to continue to walk with you, Jesus. I pray that everybody's family is happy and healthy and safe. Along with my family, I pray for them as well. I do just feel blessed just to be able to talk about your word, Lord, and thank you for teaching us your word. In God's name, amen. Pretty, not that great of a prayer for me tonight, but I am getting tired, and this has been 43-minute video so far, so I think we better call it a night. I hope you guys had a good Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Don't work too hard tomorrow. Enjoy your night. Have a great Friday. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.